And one. We should be live, everybody.
Hello. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Power Your Story podcast. Today is Open Mic Thursday, and we'll be talking about what's the hardest part of being a teen. But before we get into it, I want to remind you of places you can go and check us out. You can check us out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. Just search up Power Your Story. Let's get into it.
All right, who's going to start us out? What's the hardest part of being a teen? I can't answer this question because obviously it's been a while since I was there.
I feel like the hardest part about being a teen is like having to deal with all the hardships that you go through in high school. Like I know almost everybody in this basically had to deal with some hardships in high school.
What are some of the hardships you all, either you or your friends, have had?
Can I go? All right, so for me in high school, I'm in this really rigorous academic program called the Ivy Diploma program, and we get pretty hard homework every single night. But the worst part of it is that like we have a 16-page essay coming up, and they're really, really, really laying on our backs for that. And it's been really hard for me and my friends to kind of navigate that. And I guess that kind of ties in with how it's really difficult to keep up with your grades and homework while you're in high school, especially when there's a lot of pressure you in like junior year for like colleges, and like getting good grades, making sure you can maintain your future.
Anyone else?
Just kind of building off. Sorry, you can go.
Go ahead, AJ.
Just kind of building off of what Maya said. Like, I'm in my junior year now, and we take the SAT in a month. Like, it's just now kind of kicking into me. Like, this is gonna determine a very big part of my future. Like, literally right now on the side, I have a bunch of colleges set up. Like, and I'm looking through them, choosing which programs I'm gonna take. So junior year is definitely like one of the biggest stressors when it comes to high school.
I was gonna add on to what Maya was saying, about like being like in like rigorous programs and stuff like that. Like I'm doing a couple AP classes right now, and like it's a pretty big switch from like freshman year. Like I only did like one AP, now I'm doing three, and it's like a lot of work, um, to handle like while still doing like other things outside of school. So I can relate to that.
Adrian, do you want to read the comment from one of our
Sure.
audience members?
Mel says, "Me too, Maya, with the IB program."
It's actually like really shocking because I feel like like me personally at my school, there's a lot more kids outside of the IB diploma program than there is inside the IB diploma program. And I mean, there's not a lot of schools, or at least to my knowledge, that have the IB program. So it's actually really cool and exciting to hear someone that's in it too. I want to kind of like hit you up on that and like know how it's been going for you because it's really stressful. I know that for sure.
For me, off what Maya said, I personally don't have to deal with homework because I go to a project-based school, so mostly all the work we do is in the class, and if we don't finish the work, we have homework. But otherwise, I've never had homework, and I'm in my junior year. We have essays, but most of the time we do those in the class because each of my classes are 80 minutes long.
Lucky.
So the work is difficult, but luckily I've never had to deal with homework.
For me, is the hardest part about being a teen is you have to ma- you have to decide you have to make a hard decision like in your teen life.
To add on to Adrian, I definitely agree with that. When you're a teen, you kind of get those first tastes of adulthood, especially when you're in high school. Like your teachers kind of lay off the slack, and you're like, you're an adult now. You have to figure out your own due dates, figure out your own stuff. Like, I'm here to answer your questions, but that's like about it. Also, like, you got to start, like, some teens like get jobs while they're in high school. Other teens, obviously there's colleges and all sorts of other stuff. And, since you're the one going to college, you're the one who kind of has to have control of your future and figure out, like, how you're going to get there and what choices you want to make for yourself. And it's just, it's like it's really stressful because like it's a really like big wake up call, especially for me, like coming out of the pandemic in like 8th through 7th grade. Like we literally had absolutely no homework, and even if we did, it was really easy. It was practically a breeze. And then just coming in and getting like hit in the head with this like reality of like, oh, I've actually got to like be an adult now.
We have a comment from Instagram, or a question actually on Instagram. So Farhan asks, what strategies do you guys think are best for time management school?
Ooh.
Good question.
I'm gonna say for me, I'm only a sophomore, but like I feel like when it comes to like managing time, like really like making sure like you're writing down like what you have to do. Like I make sure like I write down like all my homework like right when I get it, so I can like manage like when I'm studying and when I'm doing my homework with all my other things I'm doing. I also say like just making sure like when you get stuff and like like you can get it done quickly, just get it done when you get it, like instead of pushing it with like all your other work or like other studying you have to do, because like when you like let like work like pile up, that's when it gets like bad. But managing time isn't that hard, like if you like really if you just like put like your work like where you like know you have time to do it, like yeah, like what Leo said, set reminders on your phone. That's a good idea too. I just make sure I write all my work out so I can like kind of see what I have to do and just doing it when I get the chance to.
Same. Like literally though, like I'm like it takes a lot to try and get me to like get through homework and do it at a reasonable time of day. Like literally I have to go on my phone, I set the reminder and put like high priority, like have it running like daily every day. So I'm getting a reminder constantly every like hour reminding me that I have to get my homework done, that I should get it done. But to add on to Kennedy though, another great strategy is not only to write stuff down, but also to maybe like organize your time. Like maybe you're like, okay, I think that this essay is going to take me about like an hour to finish, and maybe this math homework is going to take me half an hour. And then you set a timer for yourself, and then you try to encourage yourself to work within that time limit. And then one thing that's really great afterwards is if you finish it within that time limit. Like my friends and I used to talk about this because it's like almost like a like underrated way of like relieving stress. You just cross off what you just got done. It feels so good knowing that you got it done within the time limit, and also that you don't have to do it, and your list of things to do is much shorter.
Adrian, can you read the comment from Leo in the audience?
Sure. Set reminders on the phone.
Does anybody else use reminders?
I don't
Like I
really
said-
use reminders.
Like I said, I put mine on like high priority, and I have them running like daily because it takes me a lot to like get my homework done in a reasonable amount of time, and also at a reasonable time of day.
I don't know if anybody else uses like Google Classroom like for their schoolwork, but like I use Google Calendar like that goes to Google with the Google Classroom. So like when the teacher like adds work to it, you can like see it on it.
Oh my gosh, I literally saw that. Like, I don't know when they got it, but like, literally, it's so awesome because they have basically like a whole calendar. They tell you everything's due, what you missed, what you turned in, and like, it's honestly awesome. And they also send you emails like letting you know, like, hey, this is due tomorrow. It's really helpful.
For me, that only helps to a certain extent because most of my teachers don't even use Google Classroom. Why, I don't know. Also, I procrastinate, so most of the time I can't get any work done because I also have ADHD. So personally, I'm terrible with time and doing homework on time because I get distracted very easily.
I feel how Alex be feeling because that's how I am most of the time. Because like I can't stay on top of my work until I see the deadline. Like on that exact day, I build up all the courage and strength and focus to just sit there and do the work. Because I can't just sit there and just do the work at all.
Oh, there's a comment right now.
It says, from in her own word, how do you deal with academic pressure? Ooh, this is a good question.
I have a class that actually deal with academic pressure that's called ethics, and we're talking about stress and anxiety and all that other stuff, and it help us like manage it how our class is supposed to be, and we just really just be up in there talking because he's like a calm teacher. He have like daily quotes on the board, had different types of words that we could learn, and how to basically project ourselves.
To add on to that, another great way to like deal with academic pressure is actually to be reliant on your peers and teachers for support, especially your teachers. Like I guess this is coming from a place like a good place because I have really great teachers in my school who are very attentive to their students. But I mean like just rely on your teachers, like ask questions, ask for clarification, you know, like if you need an extension, be open about it. Like just don't be afraid to ask help. Like they're there to help you and guide you through the process. Like don't feel like you always need to be independent and navigate everything by yourself, even though you're in these like early stages of like practicing being adult. Like it's still practice, and there's going to be people there who are going to want to help you through the process.
Adding on to what Maya said, my school operates on like an A-B schedule, so I have 4 classes one day, 3 classes the next, and then like a 90-minute free period. And that 90-minute period is the best time to like Maya said, talk to your peers, even if it's not productive, just like, oh, my workload is so heavy. Like even just talking about it in that sense can definitely help you. And then like Maya said, going to your teachers, being open if you need help or not. Because I know for me, asking my teachers for help is like a very hard thing for me to do. Like, I'm struggling in math so much right now. And for me to go to my math teacher and be like, I need help, that's so scary to me because then it's like, why are you in my class if you're not going to get it immediately? But I know that's not how they think. But yeah, just talking about it and making sure that you're not over stressing about it. Like at the end of the day, you need to prioritize yourself and your mental health before you prioritize your schoolwork.
Yeah, there's a comment from Leo right now. It says, doing a mix of hard and easy parts, doing academic pressure instead of break time. Yeah, that's definitely really good. Like, if you're feeling like, oh, this is really hard, you can always like switch to something that's maybe a bit easier. You think you can get done in a faster amount of time. And yeah, breaks are very important. I feel like when you're in junior year and you're constantly worried about your grades and your future, it can be hard to set aside time for yourself to just like de stress. But it's really important because essentially to be able to move forward and be able to get that work done to your best possible effort, you have to make sure that you're your best possible self. And de-stressing and taking care of yourself is an essential part of that process. And also to add on to what AJ said, especially with friends, like you can feel sometimes like you're alone. It's like, oh, it's only me that's having a hard time, you know, because I'm so dumb, you know, like I'm not doing good. I'm not getting this like I should be. I shouldn't be here. But then you talk with your friends and you find out like, oh, they think it's hard too. Like they're having trouble time managing and all of that other stuff. And like, I'm not alone. Like I'm growing with everyone else in this process.
Just to add on to what AJ and Maya are saying, like like a class I struggled with was like chemistry, like really, really bad. Like I for a while like, I was failing chemistry, like I was not understanding at all. Like I reached out to the teacher for help, and like he wasn't really open about providing help. He's just kind of like if you did the notes you'd understand, whatever like that. And my grade's better now, but it's just for me when it comes to academic pressure, like what everybody else said, like reaching out to peers and like talking to other people and realizing that you're not the only one who's struggling that bad. Because like once you like feel like you're struggling like that, like you're gonna start being harder on yourself and you're not gonna make much progress from there.
Talisa, has there ever been a time you felt like an outcast?
Anyone? Like, have we got anyone who wants to bring up anything? Because I feel like I've kind of been talking a lot. I want to hear some other opinions.
For me,
Go
ahead. Go ahead, Alex.
For me, yes, because I already have a small friend group of only 4 people. I am being completely honest here. I don't like people that much. And most of the kids at my school, since I go to a predominantly Black school, don't like me because they see my skin complexion and refuse to believe I'm any sort of mixed. So most of them don't like me because they don't believe I'm mixed. So I keep it that way. They keep their distance. I keep my distance. I used to feel like an outcast in elementary school, but then I just got used to it in high school because I'm like, at this point, I don't even care. Also, from what AJ said, my issue class is history. Cause she's really mean and like don't be paying attention to half the time what we be saying. I'm a nerd when it comes to math and English, so my friends be asking me for help in math and English because I'm a nerd.
I need your math help, Alex. I'm also very bad at math. Like it's like literally like I actually have a funny story. Today I was going over like corrections for my latest test and like I was messing up like so bad. Like I couldn't tell the difference between an hour and like a minute. And my teacher was being so patient with me. He was being so calm and I was like so grateful because I was taking forever to solve this problem. And I think it just kind of ties in with like how important it is that you rely on your support team. And also I'm very sorry about your experiences of being an outcast, Alex. I'm glad you're feeling better.
Freshman year, like when I was like first getting into the school, like I felt kind of like an outcast, but really like it's kind of like all in your head. Cause like most of the time, like when people don't talk to you, it's because you're not really like reaching out. I mean, that's not always the case, but like it was because I wasn't really like, good at socializing. Cause like we just got out of COVID and all that, and like I wasn't used to talking to people in person as much anymore. Um, but like really, I feel like in most cases when you're outcasted, it's more so just because you're not like putting yourself out there or like you're like in your head all the time and like you're not like talking to people or like assuming that they feel a way about you.
I'm literally the exact same way. Like when I got into freshman year, it was so hard for me to make friends outside of like, like literally like I had a friend group coming into 8th grade and I came into freshman group and it was really hard for me to make friends because a lot of the kids going to Lincoln Park High School had gone to Lincoln Park Elementary and middle school together. So there were a lot of like friend groups already formed. And I was kind of like a little bit upset because I was like, oh, it's really hard to like make friends. But then I realized like Kennedy said that you actually have to like put the effort forward and that if you actually make an effort to talk and communicate with people more, it's gonna be like a lot more of a smoother process. And I ended up making some friends in my junior year, which was a lot of fun and we hang out a lot.
Adding on to what Maya said, I go to Jones, and a lot of Jones kids come from South Loop and um, Skinner North and Skinner West. I have beef with both of those schools because they always used to beat my debate team, but that's another story. But a lot of those kids knew each other, and Jones is predominantly white, so that was another thing. But kind of the overarching thing that we all been saying, you're gonna find your people no matter how long it takes. Like, eventually, you're gonna find those people that you click with, and it's gonna be like a good time for you.
Anyone want to read Brian's comment?
I guess I'll do it. I think the hardest part about being 18 is insomnia.
Insomnia.
Insomnia. Some teens go through it and some don't.
How do you
Anyone
guys?
have any challenges with sleep?
Me?
Yes, literally last night. That's why I did not go to school today. Because I tried to go to sleep in my normal time, which is like 9, because I have to wake up at 5 for school. I was tossing and turning until from 10 to like 4 in the morning when I finally decided to give up on trying to sleep. And I was up for the next time.
For me, I sleep fine. I always sleep at 9, woke up at 5:50 or 6 o'clock in the morning, and I feel energized because I have a good sleep.
I'm probably gonna make a bunch of teens jealous right now for saying this, but I can be like 1 o'clock and I can go to bed and have no trouble sleeping whatsoever. And I think it's kind of funny because, well, some people literally stay up till 2 o'clock. Like I usually try to prioritize my sleep because I know that when I sleep well, I do a lot better and I put in my best effort with essays and everything else, etc. And I still keep pretty good grades, so I think my plan's working.
Building on what Maya said, I'm very bad with time management, so I'll have an assignment like due at midnight, and the second that clock hits 10, I'm in the bed. Like, I do not care what's due. When it's 10 o'clock, I'm sorry, I just have to go to sleep. Like, school is never gonna be more important to me than my sleep. But also, I struggle to get up in the morning. Like, I'm supposed to wake up at 6. I literally got up at 6:35 today, but I still made it to school on time. So all's well that ends well.
Hey, I have like 15. I'm supposed to be waking up at 6 and it'll be like 6:30. I'm like, no.
We have another question on Instagram from Farhan. what challenges did you face going from online school to high school? So I'm assuming we're talking about pandemic time online school shifting back to real in-person school.
Being able to stay awake in class all the time and like doing the actual assignments, because I struggled like during the pandemic. I didn't like really do much assignments. I like it'd be like wake up in the morning, you go right back to sleep when they says join the call. I'm like, oh, and then they would kick my teachers would kick me out if I'm not answering. I'm like, see, that's the problem. But then when we got it back into school, I was like, I would rather do paperwork than computer work. I feel like I would focus more because I have something in front of me writing instead of just typing. Because I'm like, I feel like I'm at home and I can just type up stuff.
Same. Leo put in the comments, internet issues. Oh,
After the
For me,
pandemic,
it was
hold on, Alex, you can go, Alex.
for me, it was like once we went back to normal school, because mine hit me, I think, in like the 6th grade. So 8th grade was hybrid, because that's when I had to graduate. For me, it was having a good sleep schedule, because having all that time off, my sleep schedule was very, very messed up. So that was one of my main issues, was terrible sleep schedule.
Like I was saying, after the pandemic, I feel like I started like procrastinating really bad because like because at a Sound Google Classroom would be like 11:59 p.m. I would just sleep for like the whole day and I would just do it like right before it's due, and like I had to like kind of lose that habit like going into like in-person school, and like what I said again like earlier, socializing was also messed up for a while.
oh, Leo's in the comments again, feeling like you have to turn your camera sometimes. Leo's always got great comments.
I never had to deal with that because my teachers honestly didn't care. The only teacher that I honestly only cared about us having our camera on was my gym teacher in the 8th grade, which he annoyed me with. But otherwise, they didn't care if we had our cameras off or on. And also, like what Simone said, I would fall asleep and my English teacher would end up kicking me out, and I would wake up to not being in the call anymore.
That's insane. You know, I actually had a friend once, like she was a really heavy sleeper and she was missing like half of the school day when we were doing online learning. And what happens at one time my friend actually had to come and like throw rocks at her window because she would not wake up whatsoever. Yeah, but I think kind of going back to our conversation about what was kind of hard with the transition from online school to in-person school, for me, like online, the workload for school was very lax, you know, it was very light. And also like teachers weren't as proactive about making sure that you turn stuff in like exactly on time. They're like, oh, it's okay, you can turn it in like a week later, you can turn it in like a month later, like it doesn't matter, just get it in and you'll get like the credit that you deserve. And what happens once a lot of kids got back to in-person school, it wasn't like that anymore. The teachers wanted everything on time. They were putting in grade deductions if you turn stuff in like late, and a lot of kids really struggle with that, with going from like that lax, like chill, like you have more balance over your life and your schoolwork to like, oh, you know, you have to kind of start paying attention more to schoolwork because you know, like you're in high school now, and you got to start building that future. Oh, also, Kanaya put in the chat, I agree with Kennedy. When I was in 8th grade, I was very social, but when I got to high school, it changed so much. I was so shy. Same. I think that's also like a great thing, like that ties back to our conversation about transition from online to physical. It was really hard for a lot of people to be social. Just because you've been like away from face-to-face connection for so long.
To what Kanaya said,
Go ahead.
So what Kanaya said, I was the complete opposite. In 8th grade, I was more shy because, again, I had the issue of being a very mixed person. Well, I mean, being a very light mixed person in a mostly predominant Black elementary school and middle school. So I had the opposite experience. I was shy in the 8th grade and only had one friend, but then when I hit high school, I'm just as talkative on here as I am at school.
Kenya says, I agree with Kennedy. When I was in 8th grade, I was very social, but when I got to high school, it changed so much. I was so shy.
And I think, Simone, were you going to comment something about this as well?
Yeah, I was gonna say because like my school was, they like when we had first came back, we had like ungraded practice. Like some of the assignments that we used to do was like not graded. We just had to do it to see what they were trying to figure out what we knew. But the like we had like certain assignments. It'd be like summative, midterms, formatives, like those type of assignments are really count towards our grades. Then that's what only everybody cared about because nobody was else thinking about doing all the other assignments that they were telling us about.
Um, Leo says I actually skipped 2 or 3 times during online learning. I made up an excuse that the internet ran out. Oh my god, Leo.
I was just like Leo back in COVID times. I did not go to class. Like, well, I would be in the class, but I would not be paying attention at all. I would just get my work done when it was due.
I was close to Leo, but I couldn't get away with it. As soon as something would go wrong with the meet or something, they would end up texting my mama or calling her. And then I would have to hear from her. No, just no.
Hardest part of being a teen is always the strange feeling that you are alone, so isolated from everyone else.
That's
That one
true.
is my current struggle. That one is my current struggle because, like I said, being makes me very light. Also, I'm the only bookworm that I know, and then I have the Harley Quinn hair, so I stand out even in my school without being the lightest person there.
Kenya says, "What is the biggest lesson you think? What is the biggest lesson you think high school taught you?" Well, for me, the high school teach me like how to be um, how to be respectful to customers in the job and be on your job on time.
Simone said her computer is going to die. Oh, I didn't.
I say the biggest lesson that high school taught me is like it's between like how to be like a little bit more like organized, like what I do, and like making sure like if I'm gonna like really put myself in something, I'm gonna like stick to it and like put forth my full effort. And like but like nobody really cares about what you do, like because like I used to be like really self conscious about myself and like the way I present myself or like what I do and like my actions, but like it really doesn't even matter. Nobody really cares at the end of the day. Like it's
You
not
know,
that serious.
sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Didn't need to interrupt you, Kennedy. But I actually agree with that one because, like, literally, I think a lot of people grew up watching like those movies about how being in high school, there were all these like mean girls and like all these cliques, and like the bullies and like popular kids. But when I came to high school, I was really surprised to find out that a lot of the kids, at least in the IB program, were a lot like me. Like we weren't very popular. We were all like more like sociable type. Like and I'm like really honestly shocked by this. I didn't have a mean girl like instance whatsoever when I was in high school. Like it was so crazy. I don't even think there were really any like popular cliques in like the IB program. Like it was really shocking how relatable everyone is and also how nice everyone is. And that was something that hit like a lot of my classmates too. They're like, wow, I can't believe everyone's like so like nice and like chill here.
Mine is lucky because my high school is the complete opposite. There's a fight like every other week over I don't even know half the time. I just know I have videos of them. For me, it's mostly the seniors that don't care because obviously they're trying to graduate and leave, so they don't pay attention to us juniors. And also, a lesson it taught for me is most people ain't gonna like you because, like I said, most of my school don't like me. Most of juniors can't stand me. I don't really care though, but they have made it very clear that they don't like me.
Sorry, Alex. That's very sad though. Like that's sad. Also, Adrian, you want to read Leo's comment?
Sure. Leo said biggest lesson about high school was about how to avoid copying someone's workout credit.
Kind of building off of what Maya and Kennedy were saying earlier, like truly nobody cares. Like I remember going into my because I went from eighth grade being hybrid to freshman year, everybody in person. And I remember like when we did freshman connection, I was so worried about how my ID picture was going to turn out. It turned out awful because they did not tell us the day that it was going to happen, and everybody looks a mess in their ID photos. But that's not the point. Um, like even now, I still dress very fashionable, but literally some people show up in their pajamas. Like they literally roll out of bed and go to school. Like people truly do not care, and I feel like as long as you're yourself you're gonna get through. And like Alex said, there are gonna be people that don't like you for literally no reason. There are just people like that. But at the end of the day, you just have to do you, and that's really all you can ever do.
Yeah, and also there's gonna be like you're gonna realize there's a lot more important things in life than trying to like fit in, or like make sure that you have the best attention from everybody. Especially when you're in high school, like you said, you're planning your future, and also you're gonna be more likely to have friends and like more meaningful connections as opposed to like those superficial like stereotypes that are portrayed in like the movies, like the popular girls and like the cliques and stuff.
Also, what from AJ said, that is how I feel about my ID picture because they didn't tell us, and this was before I had my locks. So I think my hair was braided. It was braided, but they used, first of all, they had us take the picture on a white wall and a white flash, and I am as pale as I am, so you can barely see me in my thing. I look like a ghost. I look like Casper. I wish they would let us change it, but they won't. So yes, I despise my picture for that exact reason. And Leo said those bad people are always closed-minded. Yes, they are. Because mostly, like I said, they don't like me because they refuse to believe I'm mixed. All these comments coming in.
Um,
Jeez Louise.
Kenya says, I feel like even though we dislike high school do teach us a lot of lessons we can use in life after high school.
That's very true.
Not all the math equations.
I don't
Me
know,
personally-
I'm sorry.
Me
Like I
personally,
said, that is like so funny. Sorry, Simone, you can go, or whoever was trying to talk.
it was Alex. Because what Simone said, I said me personally, again, I don't have that issue. I'm great at math. I have a B plus in math. So I don't have that issue. Also, what Kanaya said, that has also taught me an issue, like with the discrimination, I guess you can call it. That I know being like whatever nurse I become, I'm gonna have to deal with it again from adults or parents, because people in the hospital can be racist.
So we're going to start. Hold on one second, Kennedy. We're going to start winding down in just a couple of moments. So I'm going to let Kennedy go next, and then whatever closing thoughts that you all have about this conversation about challenges of being a teen, we'll start working towards our closing. Go ahead, Kennedy.
I feel like high school really teaches you like how to like manage yourself better because like no one's really holding your hand anymore. Like you can like ask for help, but like there's no like adult like telling you like you need to do this, you need to do this. Like it's like really like getting ready like for like the real world and like not having that assistance anymore.
For me, for if you the hardest part of a teen is to is to defeat the deterrence by never give up, keep trying, and don't let nobody tell you what you can and you can't do. And Leo says fake world.
I think instead of real world, like when we say in the real world.
My last closing thought is, although I'm a junior, one of the lessons I've learned to ignore most people because I am technically the oldest junior in my class because all of them are 16 turning 17 while I'm 18.
I think that Miss Clunder, you can probably speak more to this, but I feel like while being a teen is definitely hard, when we look back in 10 years, first off, most of us are about to go to college. That's going to be a way lot harder. The coursework is going to be heavier. There's going to be more fake people, more people that don't like you, so many other things, so many more cliques, fraternities, sororities. But when we look back 10 years from now, we're probably going to be like high school was easy and I was just doing it all wrong. But it definitely is hard to currently go through it.
Anything else, or are we ready for Simone to close this episode out?
I guess my final thought or guess advice with going into high school is like I kind of touched on this a couple of other times while I was talking is like don't really come in with any expectations, you know. The high school experience is different for a lot of people and you'll find out how weirdly it's sort of tailored to you. Like I feel like at the end of the day everybody's high school experience like they were meant to have that experience. Cuz I kind of like remember like coming into LP and I was like, "Oh, you know, this is really weird. Like I don't really know if I like belong here, if I'm ready to be a high schooler yet, even though I'm like a freaking freshman. I'm 15 years old." But I very quickly found out that like the program I was in, like the IB program, is really well fit for me. I found out that I actually really like doing orchestra, and that was also a great opportunity for me. And I also found out, like I said earlier, that a lot of the kids were just like me, and it's so weird how that lines up. Oh, also, Kanai said, I feel like it's more easier for the people who come in being themselves. Yeah, you gotta be authentic.
Um, Ke- Kenya says, I feel like it's more easier for the people who came in being themselves.
I will say that you are all right. College is harder and better in some ways, and it's different for everybody. And then adult life is better and harder in some ways than high school. So it's all of the above.
So what I'm gonna say straight. Imagine a teen go to high school and he was shy. Don't worry. Just take a deep breath and take your time talking to other people to get to know each other.
That's great. That's great advice. I think we are ready to do our outro. Yes.
Thank you for watching Power Your Story podcast. Open mic Thursday, and we'll see you guys next time.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Have a good